Okay.
I gotta put on my fit for a queen gear, when I on the live and doing my videos.
All right.
That's how it is.
Why do you need weights while scuba diving? Why do we need weights?
Well, why don't you answer that? You were diving the other day in your new 5 mil wetsuit and you did not have on enough weights. So what happened?
Uh, the wetsuit that I have is buoyant. I guess it has a lot of air in it by itself, and it kind of floats by itself. So I needed I like
Okay.
4 more pounds.
And then you were able to go down, right?
Yep.
Okay. So that's why you need weights, because we are buoyant beings. And that's the only way to get us to go down and stay down at a comfortable level. What else you got?
Can you scuba dive anywhere?
Can you scuba dive anywhere?
No.
Anywhere there's water. Why not?
Still not.
Why not?
Because some places are just off limits.
From
Pretty
scuba
sure.
diving
Yeah.
or spearfishing?
No, spare. Oh, I'm sorry. Spearfishing.
It's off limits for spearfishing. Some places don't want you to spearfish, but that's a black. This one, the one I'm wearing, is purple. Does it look black? It can't look black with all this lighting I have in here.
I think you're talking about mine.
If you're talking about Jahan shirt, it's not a Salty Locs shirt.
Nope.
His says this battery never drains. That's a Jahan's anthem.
Yay.
That's his theme shirt.
Yay.
Your polo coming soon.
Mine? I want one. Yay.
No, mine's is purple. It look black for real. It's a purple polo.
I don't see no black. Oh, so now I counted it.
Huh?
Now it counted.
Mm-hmm.
Took only 8 minutes.
Okay, go ahead with roll your question.
How expensive is scuba diving as a hobby and spearfishing? Very, very,
well,
very
once you
expensive.
have all your gear, you still have to get air for your tanks.
Or nitrox.
Nitrox is a little bit more expensive than regular air. And that's if you own the tank. If you don't own the tank, then you're renting a tank, which costs a little bit more. But we own our tanks because, we dive enough that the expense broke even. Or your brightness set too dark. Then I must have been looking real chocolatey.
So I must have looked like my hair.
You were probably blending in with the wall.
What? The wall's blue.
Well, if she thought my purple was black.
I could bend over like this so she could never see me.
All right. So anyway, yeah, it can be expensive because if you get all your gear. When I started diving, we decided to buy all our gear. I bought everything except for a tank. And that ran me, I want to say, was probably $1,200 to $1,300. But renting everything would have cost like $85 every time. And if I planned on diving often, there was no point to not owning my own stuff because it would have cost me more to rent than to own. So if you're a weekend diver, you would need to buy your gear so that you don't spend as much money. If you're going to dive maybe only when you go on vacation or something like that, then I wouldn't buy anything. I would just get it from whoever you're diving with. Whatever dive charter you go with, you can always rent gear from them, and it can be part of the dive cost. But most people, when they start diving, it's something that they do very often, unless they're just in a place where they can't dive. But even those people, even people like that live in the cold, they just get dry suits instead, so that they can dive in cold, frigid water, the ice holes and such.
Next is, can you still learn to dive if you don't have a partner? Have a buddy.
You don't need a partner to learn to dive, but you need a dive buddy to dive with for safety reasons and fun reasons.
Yay. Next is, what happens if you run out of air?
You done with the first question?
No.
Interesting. Just moved on just like that?
Yep. What happens if you run out of air?
Then you need to borrow air from your buddy diver.
First, it gets harder to breathe. Then you have to tap your buddy's shoulder.
You have to do it?
I don't remember.
You have to give the signal that you're out of air.
Oh yeah. They'll give you a extra regulator.
The regulator that they have on the side.
How long does the PADI open water dive course take?
The Padi
dive course take. It takes about 30 minutes, maybe 1 hour.
It takes 30 minutes.
I don't know. I don't remember.
You don't remember?
I don't feel like it took that long.
How long did it take you to study?
Oh, it took me studying too. It took about an hour.
It took an hour to study?
30 minutes to study.
You know how many chapters you did? And you're saying that it took 30 minutes to do all of that? You had to read, and then you had to take a test at the end of every chapter?
3 hours? 2? Pretty sure it's 2 hours.
And then once you were done with the testing, then you had to go to the pool and spend time with your instructor at the pool for a couple hours, right?
2.5 to
and
3.
To practice all the skills that you needed to learn. And then you were in the ocean and did a couple dives before you actually got your certification. It's possible to do the certification portion over the weekend, but the educational part depends on how fast you can read and comprehend everything that you are reading.
2 to 3 hours. 2 to 3 days.
Sure.
Yay.
What's your next question?
Next question is, do I need to have my own scuba gear? Yes, because renting it would be a lot. And after you rent some scuba gear, after you buy some scuba gear, you could make up that money fast, since all you need is like some fins, mask, snorkel, stuff like that. If we're talking about spearfishing, then the gun, you do need a gun, 2 tanks. You don't have to rent one every time. So it is good to have your own scuba gear. Next is, will there be dangerous marine life?
Will there be dangerous marine life on your dive?
That'd be like 1 out of 10. It'll happen sometimes. Well, I won't even say sometimes. It won't even happen most or least of the time.
It's possible.
So it's like a 1 out of 10 it'll happen. Next is how long will my dive last for? Your dive will last as long as you can conserve oxygen in air. Oxygen is air. I don't know why I said that. Yum, num, 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 num. Oh, next is hot.
Next is
When will Salty Locs become?
no.
Oh, no, no, no.
Next is
Booyakasha. There we go. That's that's all I
okay. Well, then I'm going to start talking about a few things. I've had a couple people ask me how to get started diving in South Florida. And one of the ways, once you're actually certified, so I would reach out to a local dive shop. We have quite a few resources. If you need information, I can help you out with finding an instructor. But once that's completed, um, there are several groups that go out, and there's always ways to find buddy divers. Um, Meetup, Facebook, your local dive shop are good resources to find a group that you can go out with. On Meetup, there was a group. It still is a group, but it's not as active as it used to be before COVID. South Florida Beach Divers, which is exactly what it is. It's a group of divers who dive from the beach. Um, and they go from as high up as, I don't know, maybe Jacksonville to as far south as Key West. Um, but mainly in the Pompano Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood areas. Um, when you start diving, the community of divers is very small. So once you start diving, you start to get to know people because we're a tight knit group in that sense. If you live in this area and you visit those dive shops often, you'll start knowing people and making those types of connections, and it gets easier to do a group or get involved in a group. um, and make new dive buddies. The Facebook is another option. Facebook has several groups for South Florida divers that you can join to get to know people and dive with and get used to someone, and perhaps they become your regular buddy diver. When you go on a charter boat, they usually pair you up with someone on the boat if they don't have a buddy, or if they do have a buddy, they'll add you onto their group, and you just network your way that way as well, is an option. Or you go diving with the the Salty Locs crew,
have.
because we have a good time out on the water. All right. So I have a couple things I wanted to discuss too. We have some trips coming up down the pipeline, not right away, but I figured I'd go over them. One of those being a trip to the Middle Grounds, which is up in St. Petersburg, Florida. That's on the Gulf side of the state, and we have tried to do that trip. I think at this point it's probably 3 times, and every time we try, it doesn't work out. Because the water is either too rough, or it's some type, because it's several miles off of shore, so you need pretty good conditions to head out that way, or else it would make for a very bad trip. So coming up, we're going to be attempting that again with off the wall adventures. Now, since our last attempt, off the wall adventures has bought a boat that essentially you can they can stay out in the sea overnight. So instead of waking up at the crack of dawn and heading out into the ocean, you would start the night before, I believe he said, and then we would just stay in the water and get up in the morning whenever we're ready to start spearfishing. And then once everything's done, that's a 3 tank trip basically, and then you head back into shore. So that being that that's an option now, it'll probably actually happen. When we have attempted to go before and just didn't make it to the middle grounds, what we ended up doing is just staying a little closer inshore, which is, even then, it was about 30 miles out, between 25 to 30 miles out, I believe. We still have a good time, but the middle grounds has eluded me so far. Okay, so other than that, I got some announcements too. I'm gonna be running a social media campaign starting tomorrow, and it's going to end. I believe I'm gonna end it on Monday at about 12 p.m. What we're gonna do is it's basically a swag bag. I'm doing this as a fan appreciation and in an attempt to increase my community. Basically, I'm going to make a post, and it's going to be in order for you to enter, you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you like the Facebook page, and like the Instagram page, and then leave a comment on the post that I put up, and that will enter you into the running for the swag bag. Basically, the bag is going to have some of our merch in there. And I'm gonna have 2 winners. I'm gonna have one for the Facebook side, because I know some people do Facebook and some people do Instagram, some do both. So I want to cover both sides. So we'll have 2 winners for that, and that is going to run from tomorrow the 20th to the 24th, Monday. And I guess I'll probably make the announcement either later on the 24th or the next day, the 25th. Just thought I'd let you guys know that. In recent updates, we went to the South Florida Spearfishing Tournament party about 2 weekends ago. It was the first spearfishing tournament that I entered, and I was able to secure 3rd place in the women's scuba category. That was kind of cool. It was a spearfishing tournament. I have a video showing you the opening of the bag, the box that I got when I entered the tournament. I'll leave that in a card above for the replay, or I'll actually leave that in the description as well. And so that was cool. I thought that I'd just share that because I did make a video about it. So I just wanted to give you guys an update on how it went. And hopefully it starts again this year. I think it started in March last year. So hopefully by this March it starts again, and we can see if we can do a little better this time. All right. Next one is, I did post this on some of the social media, but I don't know how far it got. I just wanted to let you guys know that I also secured a brand ambassador with Toothless Spearfishing. Just got my box today, so I'm excited to start doing even more content from them and their products. It's a good matchup, and I'm looking forward to what we got going on this year. All right, Mr. Jahan, what else do you have on your questions? What's up, Joe?
I don't know what to say.
All right, we have folks on now, so now you can ask questions.
Yay! Okay, so
And you guys, I'm gonna the chat is open for you to ask any questions that you'd like. We are here to to chat with you guys. Okay, go ahead.
all right. So our first question is, how long will your dive last for? Your dive will last for, if you have about, let's say, 2,000 nitrox. Well,
Well, you should
nitrox
be
are air.
starting with 3,000 psi in
Yeah,
your tank,
3,000
right?
psi. If you
And
have.
that question depends on how deep you're diving
Mhm.
and what kind of activity you're doing. Because if you're just diving, just scuba diving and not spearfishing, you're not exerting as much energy. Um, so, what is the typical amount of time that you spend diving?
I spend about 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay, and about what depth are you in most of the time when that's going on?
Say about 46 to 65, maybe.
Okay, so your average is about 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
What about when it's cold?
Now I'm at 5 mil wetsuits. It's the same thing.
Okay, and before when you didn't have the 5 mil wetsuit?
30 minutes. I don't even say 30 minutes. Like 25 minutes, 15 to 25.
All right.
Because
I
my,
think
my other
Beacher's at the door.
ones. I'll get it.
It's open. Oh.
Hello.
Oh, you mean hair? I didn't know you was hair. Okay.
Hmm.
There's a stranger in my house.
I like how it's just one person's on while I have another 5
There's
people.
6 on here. It won't show everyone because everyone's not broadcasting their names.
Oh.
But anyway, go ahead.
Next question. Will there be dangerous marine life? 1 out of 10 there'll be dangerous marine life. You'll rarely see it. You'll rarely see like sharks, whales. Definitely not whales. Eels. I'd say about like 4 out of 10 maybe. What else? There's not much except sharks and eels. Nothing for you
Sharks
to really
and eels. That's the
panic
only
about.
thing you spot that's of
Well, the
concern
only
to
thing
you.
I spot, barracudas maybe. I don't really know. That's all I got really. I don't see any like whales like. I can't really tell.
Well, I've never seen a whale.
I've never seen a whale in my life. Number 3. Do you need to have your own Scooby gear? It benefits a lot when you have Scooby gear that you've already paid for. Pros and cons are, the con is you'll have to rent gear all the time. And that's a lot of money. And the pro is you have it, you can go whenever you want, and all you need is air, nitrox, and stuff like that. So buying it is much, much easier than renting. So next is, how long does the pad open water dive course take? Huh? What?
How long does it take to do the open water diver course? Is what you're asking?
Yeah, you go. I've answered 3. It's your turn. Come on.
Well, you can get it done in a weekend, but you first have to start with the education portion. Right now, those are usually self-paced. So you probably get a online course and you basically read a chapter and then answer questions at the end of the chapter. So there's basically a chapter and then chapter test, to make sure to go over what you just read and make sure that you understand everything. Once all of the chapters are complete, you do a course, an end of course test. Once you pass that, the dive center that you are registered to will contact you about scheduling your dives, which starts in the pool. You go over basic skills in the pool, such as, removing your mask while you're underwater and being able to put the mask back on and remove the water from the mask while you're still underwater, is one skill. Removing your gear completely off of you, but keeping your regulator in your mouth and placing your gear back is another skill that you learn while you're in the pool. And there's several other things, but they basically give you the basics of those kind of things. And then after that's done, you go in the ocean and you complete a few dives, and then they signed off on your certification. And then you are a certified diver and free to dive
Well, it's your turn to read the next
with anyone.
3. Which you would go to 6. Yeah. Wait, no.
Hello, JP.
You did that one. So next 3. So 5, 6, and 7. And I'll do 8 and 9. Then you can do your news. The salty news.
What's the next
Salt
question?
news. It's gonna be 5, 6, and 7.
What happens if I run out of air?
Yes. Yes.
Well, you can answer that because you ran out of air on our last dive. So that should be fresh on your brain.
Oh wow. So what happens is after you run out of a certain amount of air, it gets harder and harder to breathe if you take a lot more from an empty tank that doesn't have that much in it. After that, you have to warn your buddy to give the signal that you're out of air. If they have an extra regulator, put that in your mouth. If they don't, you might want to go up. I mean, if you go hold your breath for about 5
if you're
minutes,
diving with a buddy, then they're going to have an extra regulator.
You don't know that.
Well, then you shouldn't be diving if that's the case. But you have to keep an eye on your ear so that doesn't happen.
Always.
And if it does happen, you grab your buddy's relief hose and you guys start to go up to the surface. You can still do a safety stop as long as you guys both, if that tank that you're using has enough air, you still complete your safety stop. But you do a controlled ascent up to the surface. Joel was just telling us about this. He got a couple more tanks, so now we have 6 tanks in St. Thomas. So a few less to have to worry about renting. Less tanks to rent, always a plus. That lowers the expense because just refilling the air in the tank is a lot cheaper than having to rent a whole tank from a shop. So that's good news. Maybe we can secure 2 more.
What is the advantage of steel to aluminum?
Okay, I think he's talking about the tank. So the advantage, I would say, of having a steel tank versus an aluminum tank is, one, the steel tank does not change buoyancy during the dive. With an aluminum tank, when you start losing air in the tank, it gets lighter and it starts to float. It gets more buoyant, basically is how we say it. The steel tank does not do that. So you don't have to carry as much weight in your BCD if you have a steel tank. because the weight will stay even. Um, Also, a steel tank, you can put more air in it. You can pressurize the tank, or the dive shop, I should say, will pressurize the tank to have a little bit more air than an aluminum one can handle.
Next.
So I definitely prefer steel tanks versus aluminum tanks if I can help it.
Okay. Next question. Hey.
Hmm?
Number 6.
Can I still learn to dive if I don't have a buddy? You don't need a buddy to learn to dive, but you need to have a buddy to dive for safety reasons. You don't want to go diving by yourself. Not that it's impossible, but you don't want to go diving by yourself. You never know what can happen, and it's always good to have someone there to assist you. Um, and it makes diving more fun to
And
be able to enjoy the dive together and share whatever story comes out from your dive, because there's sure to be a story or
and
two
and it's
always.
it's very boring without a partner. Just sitting
It
there.
is a little bit more boring.
But it is
without a
relaxing
partner.
if you don't have a partner, because you don't have to worry about anything. Literally. Number 7.
Uncle said the last time he had to chase you down. Why did he have to chase you down?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Go ahead, next.
All right, next. Number 7. How expensive is dive equip if scuba diving as a hobby? I missed that sentence real bad.
How expensive is scuba diving as a hobby?
I'm asking you.
You're asking me?
Mm-hmm.
Scuba diving can be expensive. The way you can lower that expense is by purchasing your own gear. It's a lot more expensive, I think, to rent gear every time you have to go diving versus having your own gear. The cost will even out itself if you are a frequent diver. So when I was saying before, when I started diving, once we got certified, I think we did one dive with rental gear, and after that, we bought our gear because we determined very early on that this would be something that we would do very often. And it just made more sense to buy our gear instead of renting, because back then I'm not too sure. I guess I'd have to ask now how much it costs to get fully outfitted for a dive. But at that time, if I remember correctly, it was about $85. So I mean, $85 adds up very quickly. Um, so when I started diving, I got all my gear except for a tank. The tank came, a little later, maybe a couple months later. Was it really that soon? Yeah, it's possible. It didn't take very long because I didn't like having to rent a tank all the time. I liked having my own tank and just taking it in for air fill. It's cheaper to get air than to rent a tank. So a couple of months after I got all my gear, which probably ran me about, at that time, maybe 12 to 1300 for everything. They kind of we got a combo deal at our dive shop, and yeah, so you don't even have to go diving with rental a few times before you rack that same amount up, right? So definitely cheaper to buy your own gear, but it can be expensive. So once you do have all your, and a steel tank, I believe that steel tank cost me, it was either $200, $300. 280. Well, you have a good memory, man. So when you said I spent probably about 280 on a tank, and I figured, it reduced my cost of renting a tank. I want to say filling my tank, because back then I used to put just air. Now I use nitrox, but filling my tank back then was about, I don't know, between $5 to $6. Especially if you get a fill card, it was probably $5 each fill, versus renting a tank, which was $10. You do that enough times, you break even. You know, um, so I don't know. I want to say, maybe, I think I calculated that if I do 50 dives, at 50 dives, I would break even on the cost of a brand new steel tank. So it was worth it for me.
What do you mean by break even?
It means that if I was to rent, continuously rent,
Hmm.
and I did a certain amount of dives, renting tanks all the time, or buy a tank. If I bought a tank and I did a certain amount of dives, I would have spent the same amount of money that I would have if I rented.
Hmm.
At that point, you break even.
Oh, okay.
What is the advantage of diving in a team as opposed to diving alone, aside from the obvious? The advantage of diving with a team is you have more fun. Uh, yeah. For safety reasons, obviously, you should be diving with someone. For there's many reasons. There's chances of having an emergency. You could get caught on something and you can't release yourself from it. You need another hand. If you run out of air, it's always good to have a buddy near you that you can share your air with until it's safe to resurface. Um, and it's just more fun, especially if you're spearfishing too. If you're spearfishing, having a buddy keeps the predators, helps to keep predators or any dangers away. Because sometimes, not very often, but sometimes we have run-ins with sharks, or some other type of aggressive fish. So let's say maybe a barracuda every now and again, or an eel or something. Your buddy is probably able to ward that off, versus you being by yourself. You've just shot a fish and now you don't have any weapon that you can fire at something that's coming after you. In that case, a buddy would step in to help with that situation. So it's safer to dive with a buddy. And just for entertainment and fun sake, it's always good to have someone with you that you can share your story with, because there's bound to be stories. The fish Our fish stories, we always come back up with a good one most times.
JP, nobody said you were the best. She's the best. You're
Other
second.
than having competitiveness, with the dopest shooter is me. Anyway,
No, it's not.
yeah.
Yeah. Even
That's
Uncle said no.
debatable. I don't know about all of that.
Yeah.
If you missed my announcement earlier,
Her
I'll
turn.
go back over that. But make sure you guys, while you're here, go ahead and hit the like button. Helps out with the little algorithm of YouTube.
It
Hit that
does.
like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button. I'm pretty confident that my guys who are on here have already subscribed, but we're trying to get that number up. We're trying to build the community. So make sure you hit subscribe, share the page as well, spread the word. Salty Locs. All right. Who is second? What is he talking about? Who's second?
Who's second?
Mama's in a different water. What's your favorite fish to catch? Jahan, what's your favorite fish to catch?
Grouper. No, lionfish. No,
She says, besides lionfish, what's your favorite fish to catch?
lion. Fish.
Okay, what's your second favorite fish to catch?
Grouper.
Why?
Because grouper has nice texture. And it's tender. Nice and tender.
My favorite fish to catch.
It's kind of like chicken.
What is
I don't know.
grouper?
Yeah. I don't know. To me, it's kind of like chicken.
Everybody says everything tastes like chicken. That's not true. Grouper definitely does not taste like chicken, though. I would say I'm gonna give you two of them. Two of my favorite fish to catch.
That's unfair.
One would be the amberjack, because those have to be over 20 inches, so they're usually pretty big, and they're kind of strong. So
What's strong?
an amberjack.
Oh. I would catch a
So if you
barracuda
don't shoot it and kill it right away, it's probably gonna take you for a ride. They call them reef donkeys. So those are fun. I like doing barracuda as well. I don't know. I think the danger facing off with a barracuda.
She's fast and furious out here.
I have a video of that, a short that was actually kind of fun, wrestling with a barracuda. But
she had an adrenaline rush.
Other than that, I would say hogfish, and that's probably my belly talking, because I really love hogfish.
She can't eat lobster, so who's second? Second is you, JP. You would be second. I can't think of anybody else. Then it would be uncle. Then it would be other uncle. Then it would be me.
Uncle and then other uncle. Your uncles don't have names?
No, they don't have names. I just call them uncle.
Okay. All right. Okay. Back to my announcement. I think I got distracted.
Yes, you did.
So I was saying earlier, I'm gonna do a social media campaign starting tomorrow. We're going to do a swag bag contest. Basically, I'm gonna post. I'm gonna make a post. The tasks are to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the Facebook page, and comment on the post that I make. And that will enter you into the swag bag contest. And it'll be a random entry from those pick of names. I'll do the same thing on Instagram, which is basically you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you follow the Instagram page, and you make a comment on the post in order to enter you into the swag bag. So I'll have a winner for Facebook, and I'll have a winner for Instagram. In an effort to, it's basically fan appreciation and an effort to build the Salty Locs community. So you guys look out for that. I'm gonna do that tomorrow, and it will end. Let's say it's gonna end on the 24th at about 12 o'clock, and I'll either make the announcement of the winners either the 24th or the 25th. All right. So that's something coming up. And then I discussed the ending of the South Florida spearfishing tournament. It began in March, I believe it was March of last year, and it ended in the beginning of December. And at the end of it all, this was my very first spearfishing tournament, and at the end of it all, I was able to secure third place in the women's scuba category. So that was cool. We went to the party a couple weekends ago, and met up with some of the other participants, and hopefully this year is even better. I hope to do even better in this year's tournament. Hopefully it starts again soon, because I'm ready to start spearfishing again and submitting that fish. What else do we have here? Also, in the world of Salty Locs, we've come together with Toothless Spearfishing. I'm now a brand ambassador for that brand. We actually got the box in today, so we're gonna start making some content for Toothless and participating in a few events that they have going on for the ambassadors. So that's those announcements. I was talking about upcoming trips. We have the Middle Grounds, which is in St. Petersburg, coming up at some point. We've tried to make this trip a couple times and it just doesn't happen. Usually the water isn't cooperative when it's time for us to go. And it's such a long trip out from shore that if the water isn't good, it would really make for a very miserable trip. And I'm thankful to TJ of Off the Wall Adventures is who we usually go out with, um, because I get nauseous. I still don't have my sea legs on the boat. I have to take a Dramamine, or else if it's not flat, I'm not gonna feel well. So, uh, those trips, even though we don't make it to the middle grounds as scheduled, we still have fun because we just do something a little closer to shore. Um, and saying closer to shore isn't really close to shore. It's at least 30 miles out still. But they are always very productive. Their lionfish population is bigger. Do I want to say bigger? Or maybe they just don't have as many divers in the water. Um, Eradicating the lionfish, but they get pretty big over there, and it's more of them in the area. So that's always fun. I think when we went there the last time, we brought back at least over 30 lionfish. So that, and the fish is bigger over there. The visibility is not as good as it is on the east side of the state, but the Gulf side is very good for diving and spearfishing. How does someone get a badass gator? Okay, I think you're talking about the mask. So the gator is part of our merchandise. Jahan, can you grab me that box right there so I can show the gator?
This nice
That box.
Oh, never mind. This?
The box under it.
Oh,
Why
this.
is his last name wrong?
Huh?
Why is what?
Why is it you that
Why is what? Oh, because he's special. All right, this is a Salty Locs gator. This is a kid's one, I think.
Yeah, that's mine.
Yeah. This is the kids version. Can be worn as a headband, which I tend to do most of the time. Can be worn as a mask or a neck gaiter for the sun, and it pairs up very nicely with the rash guard, with our Salty Locs rash guard. Oh, hold on, let me open this up real quick. There you go. I don't know. I think it kind of is blurring. My camera is blurring it out, but you guys get the picture. So inbox me if you're interested in the rash guard or the gator until we get the shop up and running. That will be soon though. Let's see what else is down here. What's the secret to keeping the sickness away when it is wavy? Don't ask George. Yeah, Joe. The secret for me is taking a Dramamine the night before the dive and taking another one in the morning before going on the boat. That gives Dramamine enough time to get into your system and quiet anything that's wants to erupt while the water is wavy. Can you jump off the roof of a boat in 100 feet of water? Well, Jahan, I think that question is for you. Joel wants
answer
to know
is
if can
yes.
what can you jump off the roof of a boat in 100 feet of water?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
That's your simple answer.
Yes.
Because it's fun.
Jahan can jump off of the boat in any amount of feet of water. I think
I'm an alien.
that you are.
Hey. You mean?
Have you guys seen the fish eating a fish video? I was on a wreck dive last weekend and got to see I witnessed a murder. A sand diver was eating I believe it was a grunt. It looked like it could either be a grunt or a lane snapper, but I'm pretty sure it was a grunt because I don't think there were any lane snappers on the wreck. But he was pretty much full body in the mouth of a sand diver while a grouper was attempting to pick at his face as well. So he had it coming from both sides. So that was very that was interesting to witness. I mean, I know fish eat fish, but actually seeing it and seeing one that's pretty much the same size as what was eating it, yeah, that was crazy. I wonder how long it takes to digest that.
We should film all this.
I wish I was there to see that happen. See how long it takes. Like is it like a snake? Yeah, but the fish doesn't have like a tail to hold the body, and that's weird. I wish I was able to stay down long enough to continue witnessing that.
You
But
should research. Would you be the first? Would you be the first result if you searched for fish eating a fish?
probably not. Have you swim next to a dolphin? I have yet to swim next to a dolphin. We've attempted to
We
swim.
drove next to a dolphin.
We've sailed with dolphins in the near distance. I've jumped in and tried to swim with them, but they're so they keep their distance. Maybe one day I'll get one of the wild ones to swim next to me like Flipper. That would be really cool. But I mean, we don't see them. At least I don't see them very often. I want to say I can probably count that type of experience on one hand. It hasn't happened too often for me, unfortunately. But when it does, it's always cool. We try to get as close as we can, but they keep their distance. They I do notice that they like to ride with the boat though. So like if the boat is actually like pushing, they'll swim with the boat. But don't stop and then try to jump in. They're not having that.
They'll hit you with the tail.
No, they won't hit you with the tail. They just don't come close enough. The last time I tried to do that, it was at least I want to say at least between 30, probably 30 feet away, 30, a little bit more than 30 feet away from me. I couldn't get closer. So it's on video, but you can barely see it. But that particular day, there were a lot of dolphins in the water. Who ran out of air? And you jump. Joe, who ran out of air? What is the deepest you have dived? The deepest I've dove, I want to say, was probably 125 feet. The recreational diving allows you to go down to about 130 feet. And I think I've done about 125. I probably did 130, but I remember 125. There's a shipwreck in St. Thomas called I'm gonna lie now. Miss Opportunity. It's called the Miss Opportunity, and that I believe sits at about 120 feet, and I've been to that one. The Lady Luck, doesn't the Lady Luck sit at 130 feet? So whatever the depth of the Lady Luck is. But the Miss Opportunity is about 120 feet, and I've been that deep. 148 to the sand. I don't think I went down. Really? You sure it's 148? Yes, that's another advantage, Joe. You don't have to return the tank if it's yours.
Every time.
And then and most places, you rent it for the day, and then you're supposed to bring the tank back at the end of the day, which never happens with us because when we go diving, it's an all-day event. Because a lot of times we do 2 dives
and we don't get back on time
per day. So trying to rush back to a dive shop, not happening. But most dive shops, I mean, once you become part of the community, you're allowed to bring it back like the next day because they know you. But if you are renting, you have to bring it back. If it's yours, you bring it back at your convenience, when you're ready to get it refilled again.
You should, if you're gonna go diving, you should refill it the day before so you're ready the next day.
Yeah, very, very helpful to have it filled already because getting a tank filled can take up some of your time.
It takes about 20 minutes for 20 to 30. 20
especially if you let it cool off so that they can add more air. It takes time. So we normally if we don't have time, we drop them off and pick them up whenever we're ready to go again, or just before we go the next day. Probably in preparation of diving the next day, we usually pick it up the day before. What's the deli? What does that mean? Does that mean what is that? Are you trying to say deepest? What's the deepest you have dove as a free diver? I think as a free diver, the deepest I've done is between 40 and 45 feet. 40 to 45 feet. I don't think I've done any deeper than that without a tank. My sweet spot for free diving though is about 35. Stay there for a bit. I'm hoping to do a free diving class and add some more depth to that. So maybe next time I'll have a different answer for you. What's the difference in size of tanks? The difference in the size of tanks, the difference is that it holds more. The bigger the tank, the more air it holds.
That's why it's more expensive.
That's why it's more expensive. Because air is precious to us as divers. So the more air we have, the better. So the bigger tanks cost more money, unfortunately. They're more expensive.
I forgot.
That's why the steel tanks cost more than aluminum, because steel tanks hold more air than aluminum tanks can hold. Because you can over pressurize steel tanks. What's that?
Supply and demand.
Supply and demand. Yes, you're learning something.
Yeah.
How about you come back over here?
Sure. I just don't want to eat in the face.
Okay, so finish it. Yes. Okay, so they say it's about 146 to the bottom of the Lady Luck. It's not the number I remember, but okay.
Hey.
Your comment was flagged, sir.
What?
All right. What else do we have up here? Is it good to run underwater? He can't take the heat. He's gone. I'm pretty sure that question is not for me, and the person who can answer that question just left the room. Jahan's uncle wants to know: is it good to run underwater?
Yes.
Mr. Wave Breaker over there has a habit of trying to take off his fins and then doing the Naruto run underwater. Do not recommend.
Anime.
JP wants to know what size tanks you have, Joel. What else we got on here? All right, let's talk about all of that. We are working on some more Salty Locs gear. But for right now, we have the rash guard, the gator mask, trucker hats, visors, and stickers. I'm gonna add some shirts and another rash guard to the inventory shortly. Why does Wave Breaker have mismatched fins he's diving with right now?
I'm gonna leave now.
You ready to answer that question?
No.
I don't leave.
No. I just wanna. Just gonna go use the bathroom.
You wanted to do the live? Come on.
What are you talking about? You know what you're talking
Come
about.
on.
What are you talking about? What you talking about?
I think he's pleading the fifth on that question.
The fifth, huh?
You guys like my jewelry? Fit for a Queen. Check out fitforaqueen.com. It's in the description. Get yourself right. $5 jewelry. Can't go wrong. On and popping. If you guys are just stepping in, make sure you hit the like button. Let's see. I had another question here. I have a question for my users in the chat. What's your favorite fish to shoot? Do I have anyone from Jamaica in the house? Anyone from Jamaica in the house? Upcoming trip to Jamaica, and I'd like to get some tips. Or meet up with some of the divers in Jamaica. I think that would be great. You gotta experience the island with the locals. That's the best way. All right. Janisha, the people want to know about that coconut lobster bites. Hi, Bija.
Hi. Look, that's all I have to say. You gotta try it.
We got one of the taste testers in the house.
You just gotta try it. That's it. I gotta fix my hair. Y'all can only see me from the side.
Oh, we got another taste tester in the house.
Hola.
She got 2 pizzas. Huh? What degree?
Oh Lord,
That's all I need.
I'm just gonna do it. He said he know how to cook. I should have
All I
just.
need is the degree in a pan, and that's it.
It's 400.
Oh my god! Wow.
Should your dive buddies just swim off in the deep blue without signal? Y'all just full of trouble tonight, huh?
What are you talking about?
I'm reading a question.
Number
The
one.
question is,
He's number one, right?
the question is, should your dive buddies just swim off in the deep blue without signaling?
Yeah, JP, answer it. Come on. We'll wait.
How about you answer the question about the fins first?
What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. You must be talking
What's
about
up, Tom? How you
Hello.
doing? Is Tom Kennedy in the house?
It says Tom Cat though.
Yes, but I know who he is.
Well, I'm not gonna call him
All right,
Tom Kennedy.
Cat. So call
I'm
him
gonna tell him
Tom Cat. That's Jahan saying hello. How you doing, Tom?
That's my special hello to you. Only a certain amount of
We're-
people get it.
We're answering some dive questions here tonight. The last one was about the coconut lobster bites, and I just had one of the taste testers. They're still asking for that. It turned out very good. So if you like lobster, definitely try that recipe out and let me know how it does, how you like it. All right. So that question, I believe, was for JP. JP, can you answer that question? Should your dive buddies just swim off in the deep blue without signaling? And then we were discussing some upcoming trips. One being the middle grounds, which is in the St. Petersburg area on the Gulf side. And another was Jamaica. Jamaica. What are the tactics if you encounter a shark? Well, there's a few of them that we use. I think Joel's favorite would be to make yourself bigger. So you want to team up with your buddy diver and stick together and make yourself look like a bigger figure. Number two is to have your weapon ready. Just in case it makes any sudden movements. They're usually just kind of curious and sniffing around. So unless it's one of them aggressive days, maybe you have a fish on you. But other than that, I would say just be prepared to bust a move. But we have been using the toothless spearfishing bags, which helps with the shark encounters. So basically, I catch the fish, I take one of the toothless float bags off, and then stake it through the eyes of the fish and inflate the bag and send it up to the surface. At the surface, the teammates on the boat pick it up out the water and put it on the boat. We don't have to worry about anything smelling blood or following our trail or any of that stuff.
You just turn it on. Have some.
Ask them.
They don't know.
Okay.
They don't know how to work our
Put it on
exquisite technology.
Put it on bake.
Okay.
And don't swim
Oh,
away,
it's just
right,
bake on,
Tom? Don't swim away. You definitely don't want to turn your back on it. How does Salty Locs feel knowing she's the baddest mofo in the world? I wouldn't say I'm the baddest. I wouldn't say I'm the baddest, but I can hold my own. At first I didn't know how I would feel about sharks because, I started diving and we didn't see sharks. And people would ask me if I'm not scared of sharks, and I'll be like, I don't know, because I haven't encountered any. We used to only see nurse sharks, but nurse sharks are not harmful. They don't bite or anything really. So those were the only type of sharks we would see. Now, not so much. I don't know if it's because of the frequency that we're going diving, if it's because of the spearfishing maybe, but we see sharks a little bit more now. And they're not just nurse sharks. They're bull sharks, they're reef sharks, They're hammerheads. Most from a distance, and they don't really bother you. But as my videos will show, sometimes they get a little close. But I mean, you just have to be aware and keep a cool head. You know, most of the time they're just curious, and just hope that they're not taking a curious bite. But they're not just swimming around the ocean looking for humans to bite. You know, if that happens, it's probably because it got agitated or it mistook you for something else. So we just keep our wits about us and make sure we are ready for anything, and keep your buddy near you. All right. So personally, my next question is, do you guys prefer the dive content, like being able to go on the dives with us, or you prefer like the kitchen stuff, like the catch and cook, how you prepare the things that we catch? That's just me being curious, wanting to know. Or maybe it's a mixture of both. If you're new on the live, make sure you hit that like button, please. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss any updates. Doo, doo, doo. 80. Oh, I didn't even see that reply, Joel. I think Joel said that, was that the tank he was answering to? That's a 80. The 80 would be the little tank that Jahan carries. Jahan carries the steel 80 tank. So it's the mini. I actually have it right in here. Is the mini? Is that silver thing in the corner? I know it's blurred out, but this tank right there. It sits. That was my first tank. That was my first purchase. My first tank purchase, because you know being on the shorter end of the height pole, um, the aluminum tanks are a little too long for my body. They are a little awkward. They kind of stick out and long, past your butt and stuff like that. It's just weird having it on your back. I like the compactness of that steel 80, and it holds more air than the aluminum. So that was my thought process when I first got that tank. Yeah. Next week we're working on we got a few videos working on. I got the GoPro 10 review coming up. I'm a little behind on that because I think I've had that sitting since November, but we're always in the water. It's just hard to do all the stuff, and get everything out. But we got that coming up. We just did a charter with South Florida diving headquarters. We visited the Lady Luck and a reef. It wasn't very productive, but it was still a good dive. My my pole spear ended up breaking on me while I was trying to get a lionfish, and I had to like, you know, go back to like native times. We kind of poking it. I shot one and then poked the other one, um, because my band broke on me, and we went ahead and got that fixed in the dive shop right after the dive. But for that time being, I had to be resourceful with my pole spear. So that's one of the next dives coming up. There was another one in the works as well prior to that. Um, I believe Jahan's wetsuit, because he got a 5 mil wetsuit for Christmas to help to combat the cold water during the winter. It's been working out very well. But we're doing a video to show how to properly put that on. So, because it's a little different from the other wetsuits, it's more sensitive and it can easily tear. So we're doing a video to kind of assist with showing how to properly put on an open cell wetsuit versus the closed cell wetsuit that you can just pull up and on without a problem, without worrying about tearing it. Been very satisfied with that style. He got the kids version, which is the bottom piece. Unlike mine, my bottom piece, my open cell wetsuit bottom piece is the pants, and it comes up to just above the waist. It's separate from the top. His is a full pants into a Farmer John style um, wetsuit, and then the top is like mine, where it has the hood and the full arms and everything. Yep. Let me see. I have anything else on the plate? I don't think I have anything else. We already discussed getting a few more tanks for St. Thomas. Joe got like 2 more tanks and an octopus and BCD from some people who were moving and were no longer planning on diving. So we got a good deal there. And it's always good to have extra equipment. We only had, I think it was 4 tanks. We only had 4 tanks. So we still had to rent 2 or more every time we go diving, because it's usually at least 3 of us going, between 3 to 4 of us going. On a good day, 5. That's been a while, but so the less tanks we have to rent, the better. Other than that, try on my wetsuit. Do you dive, Tom? Or you're a surfer? I think we spoke about this before. I can't remember. I think you told me you dove before though. But yeah, he had a Jahan had a closed cell wetsuit, and they don't keep you quite as warm. And it was a 3 mil anyway. It was a 3 mil closed cell wetsuit. So we moved them up to a 5 mil open cell wetsuit, at least for the winter. He'll probably revert back to the 3 mil during the summer months, because I usually get rid of my I usually don't wear a wetsuit. I'll like put on a rash guard and full pants so that my body is still covered. But once the water gets 80, 82 degrees, it's not necessary. When I do, okay. When you do the triathlon training, yep. Definitely need that to stay comfy. And what type of protection is it? Is it like a 2 mil or a 3 mil that you're using for the triathlon? Because I guess in the winter, you probably need something keep you a little warmer. Sweet. All right. Other than that, yeah, I think I spoke about adding a little bit more merch to our list. Just reading, Joel. I never swam off. I was trying to shoot a fish since someone doesn't carry a gun. Just saying. Vector Pro X. Okay, Tom. Cool. That's cool.
Hey, where's more fish?
What's on the stove?
She want a fish quesadilla.
What's on
I'm
the
gonna have to add
stove?
some chicken. She gonna have to eat that because I'm a kid.
She don't eat chicken.
I know.
Okay.
A real plate?
Uh-huh.
I mean, when she took a bite out of mine, that's chicken. What did they go plate for then?
I mean, how are you going to be on a spare crew and not use a spare gun? He's gonna bring the spare gun out because Lobster is going away soon. Lobster season ends at the end of March, and Joel is going to have to find something else to hunt. But until then, Joel, lobster on. But yeah, JP, that's usually what happens. After lobster goes away, he'll hold on to a spare gun just in case. Or maybe he'll move over to lionfish. He seems to like doing that now. Yep, he just wants lobster. That's the lobster man. That's the lobster man right there. Yeah, man. All right, people. Any more questions? Because I'm going to start to wrap it up. Yeah, but when there ain't no lobsters, what's he supposed to do? Stay on the boat and look cute?
He gonna man the boat, that's what he gonna
Well, he's gonna man the boat, and we always looking for a captain, so nothing wrong with that, right? See, and he said, and only then. That's how he works, man. When lobster season is over, he'll get the spare gun back out in his hand and start to try to shoot something. But until then, it's all about lobsters. All about lobster for the lobster man. Huh? Yep. And in between there, if he wants to man the boat, then I'm sure you don't have any complaints. But he'll come by and he'll dive and look pretty, as you say. But yeah, that's what the lobster guy wants. This lobster. I'm surprised he doesn't have high cholesterol right now. Yeah, he probably does. You have high cholesterol, Joe? Or you just you try to just boil the lobster. You don't marinate it in garlic butter and do all these other things to it. Fry it. Try to keep it as healthy as possible by boiling. That's another option. Oh yeah. But anyway, we're working on some. I'm working on some other things with the lionfish. I want to try to make a lionfish cake, kind of like a crab cake. So I think on the next run, if we get enough of them, I'm gonna probably experiment with that. He can man the boat all he wants. The problem is he's sick on the damn thing half the time. He'll start taking his Dramamine at some point. We need a Dramamine sponsor. Dramamine sponsor, that would be great. We use it on basically every trip. That's at least what? Probably a minimum of 4 people, 2 pills per person. Dramamine, give me a shout out. Let's work. You help us continue to do what we do when we take it, because some people don't even take it, and then they say they forget, and then they have to deal with the problem because they didn't take the Dramamine ahead of time. I've learned my lesson though. No one likes feeling queasy. At least I don't. So other than that, coming up, I have all my gear in here, and I'm gonna be doing a gear organization. showing what goes into the dive bag. And that's all that's on the table for now. All right, we got any more questions? We are an hour and a half in. Oh. Purple? What's purple?
Bro, you still haven't sent me the picture. Why still haven't gotten the picture? So that was the picture you took on my regular picture. So you want the picture on my phone?
What's purple, Joe? What's he gonna do? Tell them what happens when you don't take Dramamine? I don't think he's a very good candidate for getting us a sponsor. He has to actually take it first. If you just come in there, make sure to hit that like button. If you're not subscribed yet, hit subscribe and hit the notification bell to make sure that you don't miss any updates. Fits. Now I am rubber band man. Nice. I might need a picture of that, Tom. When is the last time you put that thing on? I made some blackened amberjack tonight, and I have a feeling that when I go back out there, it's gonna be gone. I have scavengers in the house. A few years. Well, I'm glad it fits still. Yep, yeah. Oh no. Oh no. Out here causing fires.
I got it.
Like, really?
Accidents happen.
Yeah. Never a dull moment. All right. So remember, guys, starting tomorrow, I'm gonna post I'm gonna do a social media campaign. I think if sharks see me, then they say, no, you're too long to be a seal, baby. And good thing we're not in California then. You should be okay. You should be okay in Florida water. Oh, but I was saying tomorrow I'm going to make a post on Facebook and Instagram. It's basically a contest, a fan appreciation. You can win a swag bag with all the Salty Loc merch. I'm gonna post. You're gonna make sure you subscribe to the YouTube. Make sure you like the Facebook page. Follow the Instagram page and make a comment on the post. That'll get you your entry into the contest. And on Monday the 24th, I'll wrap it up and we'll get 2 winners. What's the next adventure for the Salty Locs crew? The next adventure, I don't know. It'll probably be something local. Lionfish is always on the list. Lobster is always on the list until it's not, which is going to be at the end of March. We have until March 31st to catch lobster, so we're going to focus on that. Of course, always want to catch fish. But upcoming is going to be a trip to the Middle Grounds, which is in St. Petersburg, Florida. With who are we going with? With Off the Wall Adventures, and I don't know when we don't have that scheduled yet, but that's coming up. That's one of the things coming up for out of town. Other than that, another trip upcoming is Jamaica. I'm gonna be spending some time in the Ocho Rios area, and hopefully a couple more areas. I would like to meet up with some of the local spearfishers. I've already reached out to one so far. We're gonna see if we can get that set up. That will be fun. And it doesn't even have to be just diving. I don't mind going on an adventure. You know, I know they have some hiking options. Maybe the rivers. Rivers is always an option. Yeah, and I'll of course take you guys along with me on those journeys. Yep. Looking forward to it. The last few videos I have are from St. Thomas. One at Cookie Point Beach, and the other near near Mermaid's Chair on the west end of the island. Upcoming videos, we got the dive charter, South Florida dive charter, that out of Pompano, Florida, where we did the Lady Luck wreck and a reef. So I'll be showing some stuff from there. We didn't have much of a catch that day, but I was able to snag some lionfish. The lobster I threw back because it was too small. What else? Yeah, there's a couple things in the woodworks. So you guys make sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss when those come out. Do a schedule for the end of February. Okay, well I didn't know that. End of February. Okay, so middle grounds at the end of February. Hopefully we can actually make it this time. Like I said before, this is either our third or fourth attempt to get to the middle grounds. Yeah, the ever elusive middle grounds. But I think we'll make it this time. That will be a really good video. I hope we make it this time. So yeah. Stay tuned for that. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Spread the news. We're trying to get the numbers up on the channel. Trying to get to 500 so I can get the a little bit more use out of YouTube with the community tab. And of course, the goal is always to hit that 1,000 mark and more, which I know is going to happen this year. So make sure you are on the ground, one of the pioneers of the Salty Locs movement, because salt water heals everything, and the sea shall set them free. All right. Make sure you guys stay in touch. I'm going to wrap this up unless I have any more questions. Until then, you guys, check out the videos on the channel. There'll be more Catch and Cook coming up. as the time goes by, because I see that those are things people are actually really interested in, and we're cooking the things that we catch all the time anyway, so we might as well show you how to prepare them. Gonna do a lot more showing of how we clean the fish as well. Although I mean, once you know how to clean one fish, it's pretty much the same thing. um, but there are different ways to prepare them, keep them whole. We fillet them, we fry them, we blacken them, we stew them, we bake them, steam them. There's just so many options. You never really run out of things to do. So that I think that's the reason that we don't get tired of eating fish, because I prepare them in so many different ways. So it was a 28, but you can be gone. I'm going to be gone. Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Good to know. All right. Okay, so thank you guys for joining me on this live, the second live in the history of the Salty Locs movement. There'll be more, but we'll come back when there's more updates. I'll keep you guys updated. Make sure you like the Facebook page, follow the Instagram page if you're on Instagram. I have Twitter, I have TikTok. Make sure you hit up all of those and give it a like. I am Salty Locs on Twitter and YouTube, Salty Locs Adventures on Instagram and Facebook. We have anything else? That's about it. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. You guys be safe out there.